everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Naked Truth. Trisha here. Thank you so much to everyone who sent in naked vlogs last week. We had Eric, Becca, Prescott, and Kristen. Nielsen is like gasoline. I'm not sure your name. Kenny, Lawrence, Dominic, John, Grant, Matthew, Will, someone else whose name I don't know, and Pat, and those links, and Jacob. And those links are all in the description below. So if you want to check out some other folks' Naked Truth vlogs, you can do that right there. Thank you guys, everyone who commented on the Naked Truth on college and what comes after it. And congratulations again to everyone who graduated. Some of my favorite comments that were brought up, Prescott and Kristen in their vlog had brought up the idea of volunteering after college and meeting people that way. That's awesome. My little sister actually did that. There's Peace Corps, there's AmeriCorps, there's a lot of different programs you can volunteer, meet people, get business contacts, etc. And it's nice to do good for other people, so that's awesome. Lawrence in his vlog mentioned joining the military, and I'm not sure, to be perfectly honest, what all the military programs are for students after you graduate, but I know there's tons of different stuff that are meant to, you know, put you on the right path and give you a future in those regards. Let's see. Jacob McKenzie said, I think a lot of people associate success with money, but I have always thought that, although of course money is important to an extent, one's happiness is far more important. My dad changed from being a banker on a good wage to being a vicar on a stipend, and our family has never been happier. Success to me is much more than the numbers in your bank account, and that is 100% true. So all the advice that I said on, you know, what comes after graduation, whether it be college or high school, and about getting a job, do what makes you happy. Whether that job pays a lot or pays a little, in my opinion, is fairly irrelevant. Like, obviously you need enough to pay your bills and put food in your mouth so that you're not homeless or hungry, but beyond that, do something that makes you happy. I've seen too many people slave away at jobs that they're miserable at, and I find that either you have a lot of time on your hands and no money to spend, or you're working all the time, you have tons of money to spend but no time to spend it. So anyway, so be happy. That's the moral of the story. Thank you, Jacob McKenzie. And today I wanted to vlog about video games. I know it's a more fun one. We've been doing kind of more advicey stuff previously on The Naked Truth for the past couple episodes. So let's do something fun. We're smack in the middle of E3, and this is the perfect time to talk about video games since that's all a buzz of what's in my head. Halawasamudiaman, I'm so sorry I butchered that, said, what drew you to video games? I have always been curious on your take on gaming and how you stumbled upon it. And that got me thinking, wow, when did I start playing video games? It was when I was really, really young. So my family was not the family that had like the newest console or anything like that. Neither of my parents were gamers because their generation didn't do that. I mean, computers really came about when I was in school, or became more commercially mainstream when I was in school. So gaming just wasn't really a thing. Like Minesweeper was a thing. But before that, my dad got some kind of like hand-me-down. I always refer to it. It looked like a keyboard that you put a cartridge in the top of, and it plugged into your TV, and you could play text-based adventure games. And so I had one of those really little. Like, probably at age 6 or 7. And that was my first console. That was even before I think there was a computer in my house. And then when I was really little, I begged and begged and begged for a Nintendo because my neighbors had it. It's funny on, you know, you'll hear me say on things on YouTube, like, oh, I remember this really old game and that really old game. And yes, it's partially because I am of that generation and that age. But it's also partially because I got like the hand-me-down stuff. Like I was really into video games a couple years after they were the new hot thing. So I liked the old stuff because that's what I always had. So I begged for a Nintendo, and I finally got one, and there's a home video of me somewhere opening up my Christmas present, like literally at age like 6 or 7. Like I was tiny. And this package was bigger than me, and I just knew it had to be a Nintendo, and I ripped it open, and little Shisha reached above her head and was like, I got a Nintendo! And trust me, when I find that home video, I will post it to this channel. It requires flying home to Pennsylvania and going through a lot of old VHS tapes, so I just haven't been able to do it yet, but I will find it and I will post it. And so then I was crazy into original NES, and my parents were very funny because, like I said, I wasn't the kid that got the newest console every 2 seconds. When I would say, oh, well, now I need a Super Nintendo, now I need a Sega Genesis, my parents would say, have you beaten all your Nintendo games? And I would say, no. And so I would just replay my Nintendo games, which is why to this day, if anyone challenges me in original NES Paperboy, I will kick your butt, because I've beaten that game so many times. Like, the culture of, I'm going to play it till I beat it, then, you know, give it back to GameFly, or I'm done with it and moved on to the next thing. That wasn't the kind of gamer I ever was. I have replayed and beaten Paperboy, Bubble Bobble, Castlevania, like all those games so many times, because that's what I did. And then because I, you know, didn't have a new console, I then kind of bridged over to PC gaming, like King's Quest and all that kind of stuff, Myst, Riven. I really got into PC games at that point in time, you know, from my text-based adventure roots, and I still love text-based adventures and point and clicks and that kind of stuff, and puzzle games primarily. And I think, I guess when I was originally like asking for NES and that kind of stuff, though at that time video games were a very like solo thing that you did by yourself. So it wasn't like I'm gonna get online and play with all my friends. I was kind of a loner as a kid, and video games were a way for me, it was just like reading as a hobby or any other hobby. It was the leisure activity that I preferred to sink my time into, if you will. It was very choose your own adventure books interactive, and I loved it. So because of that, to this day, I'm also partial to linear storyline campaign modes of games, more so than the online multiplayer. Video games for me are a personal experience. It's something I do in my downtime, as opposed to I do because I want to online hang out with my friends. Now, that's not to say that I never played WoW or StarCraft with friends or anything like that, because I did. But it's just, it's not what I prefer. So streaming's going to be really interesting for me. Good news for everyone who's really annoyed by the sound of the fan on my PC right now. I bought a whole bunch of stuff to upgrade my gaming rig. I'm really excited about it. It just hasn't arrived in the mail yet. I ordered things from all different places, so it'll be here soon by next week. Hopefully you will not be hearing that, because I'll have everything stuck together, and then I'll be able to stream and stuff like that. So my question to you guys, I know some of you play video games, some of you probably don't care about video games. My question is, what do you care about? What do you like to spend your leisure time doing? Like I said, you know, whether it's reading books or playing video games or watching movies, or you really love reality TV, or whatever it is that makes you happy. Tell me what your favorite leisure time activity is, how you got into it, and why you love it in the comments section below. I'm at E3 all this week, so I probably won't get to look at any naked vlogs that are sent in until the weekend at least. But yeah, feel free to suggest more vlog topics and that kind of stuff. And streaming is coming very soon. And tech stuff is on the horizon too. So thank you guys so much for watching today's episode of The Naked Truth, and I will see you next week.